Okay, so breakups, they're hard.
Yeah.
And wanting to get back with an ex, totally normal. I mean, we've all been there, right? But like, how do you actually make that happen? That's what we're diving into today with advice from Brad Browning.
Okay.
You know, he's a relationship coach, and he's got this article called Do This or Your Ex Won't Ever Come Back.
Okay.
And it really caught my attention because he says he's kind of like figured it out.
Oh, really?
Using both like scientific studies
Interesting.
and over a decade of experience as a breakup coach. So we're going to unpack his advice,
Okay.
see what he has to offer, and see if it actually holds up, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that Browning starts by saying that breakups are super common.
Right.
Like his article even mentions that
Yeah.
a lot of couples actually break up and then get back together. You know, like half of young adult couples
Yeah.
and like a third of those living together.
Really?
And even a fifth of married couples. So it's like it happens more often than you think, breaking up and getting back together.
Yeah, that's actually kind of reassuring in a way, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm not the only one who's gone through this whole messy back and forth thing.
Exactly.
But then Browning throws this curveball.
What's that?
He's like, constantly chasing your ex after a breakup is the worst thing you can do.
Okay.
So all those calls, texts, like showing up unannounced, it's like the opposite of attractive.
Like relationship repellent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why does that push people away?
So it's all about psychology.
Okay.
When you're like constantly after someone,
Yeah.
especially when they've said they need space,
Right.
it makes them associate you with like stress and anxiety,
Oh, I see.
not like the good times you had.
Right. So you're not reminding them of the fun stuff. You're reminding them of the...
Like the chasing,
yeah.
the negative.
Pressure.
Okay. So it actually like backfires.
Totally.
Makes them want to run even further away.
Totally. Okay. So if that doesn't work, what Yudu does, I mean, I'm guessing he doesn't just say like, move on
Right.
and forget about it.
He doesn't.
He talks a lot about this no contact method, which kind of sounds intense.
Yeah. What is that like ghosting?
Is it just ghosting your ex?
Yeah. Is that what he's suggesting?
Yeah, what is it exactly?
Not really. I mean, yeah, it involves cutting off communication,
Okay.
but it's more than that.
Okay.
Like he brings in this brain science element, explaining that romantic love creates these neural pathways in our brains.
Wait, neural pathways. Can you explain that for someone who's not a brain surgeon? Like, what do those pathways have to do with love and heartbreak?
So imagine them as like superhighways in your brain,
Okay.
connecting the parts that handle emotions, memories, and attachment.
Okay.
And when you're in love, those pathways get stronger, more active.
So they're like solidifying that connection?
Exactly. It's like building a stronger bond in your brain with that person.
Okay, so even if you're like, I'm over them, I want to forget them, those pathways are still there, just like humming in the background.
Yeah, they don't just disappear overnight just because you break up.
Wow. So that makes it so much harder to just get over someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And no contact isn't about erasing them,
Right.
but it's about giving them time to cool down.
Okay.
So both people can heal and get perspective without all the emotional baggage of constantly talking.
I see. I see. But Browning says you need 30 days of no contact.
Yeah,
It sounds like forever,
it's a long time.
especially when you're like hurting and you just want to reach out.
I know.
What are you supposed to do with all that time?
This is where it gets interesting. He says, no, contact isn't about just sitting around moping.
Oh.
You got to focus on some key activities.
Like what?
There are 5 of them, and they're all about like self-improvement,
Okay.
with the bonus of maybe getting your ex interested again.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the first one? And how does that help with getting back together?
The first one is to lean on your support system.
Okay.
Like spend time with your friends and family.
Got it.
The people who make you feel good.
Right.
He even suggests making new friends
Oh, wow.
to broaden your horizons.
I see what he's doing there. Because breakups can be so isolating, so you need those connections.
Exactly.
But wouldn't that make it harder to focus on getting your ex back?
That's a good question. But remember, no contact isn't about manipulating your ex.
Right.
It's about giving yourself the space to heal
Right.
and rediscovering who you are outside of that relationship.
So you're not defining yourself by the relationship.
Exactly. And when you're happy on your own, you're more attracted to everyone,
That makes sense.
even your ex.
So it's about becoming the best version of yourself, but not for them.
Right.
For you.
For you.
I like that. Okay, what's the next activity?
This one might surprise you. He says to date other people.
Really?
Yeah.
While you're trying to get back with your ex? Isn't that kind of like...
counterintuitive.
Yeah, counterintuitive. Yeah, and kind of messy.
Yeah, I get it. What's the thinking there?
He's not saying to play games or try to make your ex jealous.
Okay.
He says dating other people can help you see your own worth.
Oh, okay.
And remember that you have options.
Even if you ultimately want to be with your ex.
Right.
So it's more about boosting your confidence.
Yeah.
And realizing you're not defined by this one relationship. It's like giving you a broader perspective.
Right. And dating doesn't even have to be like serious dating.
Oh, okay.
It can just be going out with friends, meeting new people,
right.
Figuring out what you like.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. And it can actually be a real confidence booster.
Totally.
Especially after a breakup.
For sure.
And speaking of boosting things,
okay.
Browning's next suggestion is all about getting your heart rate up.
What is it?
Exercise.
Exercise. Okay. That's not exactly like revolutionary advice.
Sure.
I mean, everybody knows working out is good for you, right? But Browning kind of like dives deeper into the science. He mentioned some studies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from the University of Texas.
Okay.
That show that exercise can actually improve your mind.
Oh, wow.
Like even help with depression.
Huh.
And it makes sense when you think about it. After a breakup, your brain is going through a lot.
Right, like a chemical roller coaster.
Exactly. And exercise can help rebalance those chemicals.
Okay.
And lift your spirits naturally.
So it's not just about like looking good for your ex. It's about taking care of yourself.
It's about your mental health.
Yeah.
During a tough time.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see how that ties into the whole self-improvement thing. Okay, so what's next on his list?
This one might be a little less strenuous.
Okay.
He says to seek advice from a third party.
Okay.
And he doesn't mean just like venting to your friends.
Right.
He's talking about professional help.
Okay.
Like therapy or coaching.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because I can see how that could be helpful because like friends and family are great.
They are.
But they're not always objective.
Exactly. And they might not have the tools to actually help you work through this.
Right. They mean well.
Yeah.
But they might not know how to give you the right advice.
Exactly.
Okay.
And a therapist or a coach can provide like a safe space to process everything.
Yeah.
Unpack the issues.
Right.
Figure out strategies for moving forward.
Whether that's getting back together or moving on.
Exactly.
Okay, so they can help you figure out what you really want.
And they can also help you identify those like unhealthy patterns.
Oh, yeah.
That keep popping up.
Like those things you keep doing.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Right.
In your relationships.
Yeah, and how to communicate better.
Yeah. Communication is key.
It is.
In any relationship.
It really is.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you just need somebody who's not like emotionally invested to help you see things clearly.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got lean on your support system.
Yep.
Dating exercise.
Yes.
And seeking professional help.
Yep.
That's 4. What's the 5th thing?
The 5th one is all about focusing on personal growth.
Okay.
Like using this time to work on yourself.
Okay, so like the classic become the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
But how does that help you get your ex back?
It's not about like a superficial makeover.
Okay.
It's about real change.
Got it.
And when you're making those changes, it shows.
Oh, okay.
You're more confident, your outlook is brighter.
You're glowing up.
And you become more attractive.
And that includes to your ex.
It does.
So it's that whole you attract what you put out there.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered all 5 activities now.
We have.
But a lot of people are probably wondering, does this actually work?
Right. Doesn't. Contact actually help you get back together?
Yeah.
That's the $1 million question.
It is.
And there are no guarantees.
Of course not. This is love.
Right.
It's unpredictable.
It is. But Browning says that understanding the psychology of breakups and taking these positive steps can really increase your chances.
So it's not a guarantee,
No.
but it gives you a better shot.
Exactly. And it's not about manipulating your ex.
Okay.
It's about creating the best environment for both of you to heal.
And maybe grow back together.
Right.
That makes sense. It's a much better approach than just like begging and pleading.
Way better.
But what happens after the 30 days?
Right.
Do you just like pick up the phone and act like nothing happened?
Not quite.
Okay.
He has a whole strategy for that initial contact.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what to say?
Yeah.
How to start those conversations?
He says it's important to start slow.
Okay.
Focus on connection.
Right. Not pressure.
Exactly.
Okay. So there's like a whole art to breaking this silence.
There is.
Sounds like we need another deep dive
We might.
to cover that.
Yeah.
But for now, let's wrap up the no contact part.
Okay.
What are the key takeaways?
Well, first, there's hope.
Okay.
Breakups aren't always the end.
I like that.
Second, chasing your ex is a bad idea.
Yeah.
It pushes them away.
Right.
And finally, no contact isn't about punishment or manipulation.
Got it.
It's about space to heal and grow.
Individually and maybe together.
Exactly.
Those are really good points. But let's leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay.
What's a question that might help them with their own breakup?
So think about this. If you were the ex, what would make you want to get back together?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it makes you see things from their side.
Right, because it's so easy to get caught up in your own feelings.
Totally.
Like, I just want them back. I want them back.
Yeah.
But you forget to think about what you're going through.
Exactly. And having that empathy is so important.
Yeah.
Whether you're trying to get back together or not.
Right. It helps you understand them better.
Yeah, like their needs and why they do what they do.
It's like putting yourself in their shoes. Like, imagine if you were the one getting all those texts and calls.
Yeah. Would you like it?
Probably not.
Probably not.
And it's not just about empathy for your ex.
Right.
It's about looking at yourself, too.
It is.
Like, what role did you play in the breakup?
Mm-hmm.
What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah.
Where do you need to grow?
Exactly.
So even if you don't get back together, you're still learning and growing.
Totally.
Which is always a good thing.
Always.
Right.
And, even if your ex doesn't say exactly what they need,
right,
you can figure it out from their actions.
Okay.
Their words.
Like, what were the issues you guys fought about?
Yeah. What were their values?
What made them happy?
Mm-hmm. Think back to those things.
Yeah, that can give you some clues.
It can.
So it's not about those grand gestures or pretending to be someone you're not.
Right.
It's about really understanding each other.
And how you can both grow.
Together or apart?
Yeah, and even with all the right strategies, there's no guarantee they'll want to come back.
That's true.
And that's okay.
Yeah, you can't control other people.
We can't.
You can only control yourself.
Right.
And how you respond to things.
Exactly.
What's a good reminder?
Yeah. Heartbreak is hard.
It is.
But it's not the end.
It's a new beginning.
It is a chance to learn and grow.
And find love and happiness.
Yeah, with or without your ex.
Okay, so to wrap up Brad Browning's advice.
Yes.
Give your ex space, work on yourself, and then approach things with a clear head. Mm-hmm. It's a much better approach than just like blowing up their phone.
Way better.
Right.
Yeah, and remember, even if it doesn't work out, the growth you experience is so valuable.
It is.
You'll be stronger, more confident, and ready for whatever comes next.
I love that.
Me too.
That's such a great message to end on.
Yeah.
You've given our listeners so much to think about.
I hope so.
And hopefully some tools to help them through their breakups.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.